Travis, introduce yourself.
I'm Travis Katz. I run the international business for MySpace.
So tell me, what's the big trend internationally? Now, social networks have taken off in the U.S. Growth in internationally is really going to be sort of the big business, most people think.
Yeah, I mean, we're expecting that we're going to have 30 to 50% of our users and our revenue coming from outside the U.S. And if you look at sort of the major internet companies,
right,
the Googles, the eBays of the world, they're all getting up 35, 40, 50% of their revenue.
Right. What's different social networking abroad now?
You know, people are in different stages of the market. In some markets like Spain and Italy, social networking is a completely new phenomenon. People are just sort of learning how to do it. In Japan, it's a totally different type of social networking. People are micro-blogging, they're blogging from their mobile.
Right.
So you have to
Well, that would make sense since they use mobile so much more heavily there.
Yeah, and they're, doing things like having a bowl of soup and taking a picture of their soup and uploading it to their page and saying, I'm having a bowl of soup, and their friends are commenting on it. It's a different way of interacting, and that's what you have to adapt to in the network.
And in terms of, there's a lot of local ones, right? In each of these countries, Japan, it's Mixi, and in Italy they probably have one that's similar. And Chris joked today, in China they have dozens, and 3 of them are called MySpace.
Exactly.
How do you compete then? Because you're sort of a U.S. company the same way Facebook is, and
we're focused very much on the cultural aspects. I mean, social networking is fundamentally a very personal thing. It's culturally sensitive. People are putting their lives online and inviting their friends to interact with them.
Right.
What we're trying to do is make sure that we're culturally relevant in the site from a content perspective. So the music that we're featuring is stuff that people are interested in, is intriguing. The comedians, the videos that we're posting are locally made. And we're trying to make sure we're adapting culturally and hiring people in each country who can bring that to the table so that we don't feel like a U.S. company, a one-size-fits-all product.
Right. Do you think the U.S. companies are the ones that are dominate? I mean, the Facebooks, you and Facebook, essentially.
I think it's hard to say. I mean, I think right now we're far and away the biggest social network internationally. We've got more than 110 million users. We're the biggest in Europe, twice as big as the number 2. But, a lot of it is what people get used to. And whatever was there first, it kind of defines for the market, how you think about social networking. And so you come into a new market and you either have to change the way people are thinking about it, or you have to adapt to how people are thinking about it. Right.
And in terms of the social networking trend in general, it's been very hot in the United States. Some people are worried it's going to fall off in terms of interest. It's just getting started internationally.
Yeah, I mean, the upside for us internationally. So a year ago, we were getting about 13% of our signups on a daily basis from outside the U.S. We're now getting about 40%.
Right.
And if you look at the total internet population, 75% of internet users are outside the U.S. If our population in MySpace doesn't reflect that in 10 years, then we've probably done something wrong.
Now, when you're saying 10 years, a lot of people felt social networking was a sort of a trend for the moment. How does it stay? How does it become a staying thing that people...
Well, 2 things. One, I don't think it's a trend. What we're seeing from all the numbers, it's just becoming more popular over time. And we've been around for 4 years. The idea of connecting with people, communicating with your friends, expressing yourself are not things that are going to go away. Those are fundamental human needs. And as long as we continue to innovate and stay relevant and make sure that we're bringing the best and the brightest features for people, I think we're going to stay relevant. And that's part of the reason why we're embracing things like open social to allow any number of developers from the development community in any country to create new functionality, come up with new ideas, and install them in the environment where users can really enjoy them and interact.
Now, in terms of just the last question, people talk about no more borders and stuff like that, but for the most part, social networks are the people in Germany stick with the people in Germany, the people in France stick with the people in France. Do you ever see a situation where people will have a social network that's global?
Well, I think what we're starting to see, particularly with MySpace, is the power of a global network to create global trends. So, for example, if you think in the music space, in Mexico 5 years ago, if you were an indie band in Mexico, the chance that anyone outside of your town would ever hear your music, let alone anyone outside of Mexico, were almost zero. It just doesn't happen. What we're seeing with MySpace is it's sort of leveling the playing field. You don't have to get an agent and a record deal and a video on MTV. Anyone can go out there and make great music and become a worldwide phenomenon. Most recently, a band called Justice out of France, really cool electronic band, went from being a local French band to being a worldwide phenomenon, popular in the UK and Australia and the US and Germany and France, by promoting themselves on MySpace. And the word quickly spread throughout a global network. And it's that global aspect, I think, that makes MySpace much more powerful than some of the local competitors we face in each market.
Right,
They can't
right.
really bring that level of content and interest to their product.
Great. Travis, thank you so much.
Thank you.